What does it mean to start over when you've already built something? Not when you're 22 with a dream and you've got nothing to lose. Not when the slate is clean and the road is wide open. But when you're 48 with a career behind you and a life in full swing, credentials that took decades to earn, and the quiet sense that what you've been doing is not everything that you're capable of. That kind of starting over is different. And that's exactly what I'm going to be getting into in this video. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been rocking with me for a while, welcome back. My name is Nick Scott and I'm a business coach and brand strategist who helps professional women use their existing skills to build online businesses without quitting their 9-to-5, without burnout, without overwhelm. And in this video, I'm going to share with you two stories. Both of these stories are mine. One of the stories I chose, the other one chose me. And both of them taught me the same thing about what it means to rebuild when you already have something real to build from. And I want you to stay with me until the end of this video because I'm going to share a part of my journey that I've never fully shared publicly. And I think it might land differently depending upon where you are in your own journey. In 2009, I started this YouTube channel while I was working full-time. I had a marketing career, a life that I was managing, and I genuinely had no idea whether or not what I was building here would go anywhere. But I started anyway, and this channel was started to document my transitioning journey to natural hair. And over the years, it grew into something that I couldn't even fully comprehend or anticipate. This channel grew at its peak to nearly 170,000 subscribers, and we were a real community. There were women who came back week after week who had been with me through every season of life. Women who had trusted me to be a consistent voice in their world. 170,000 individual people. And on February 15th, 2026, I walked away from all of it. And it wasn't because the channel had failed. It wasn't because I had run out of things to say. And it certainly wasn't because anything went wrong. I walked away from natural hair content because I had outgrown it. And I want to be honest with you about how that felt, because it's not easy to leave a community that you built from the ground up. To me, that subscriber number weren't just numbers on a screen. Those were women who had been rocking with me since the very beginning. And leaving that felt like a real goodbye. But I kept coming back to one question that I couldn't shake. What if building something that was truly mine required me to let go of something that I'd already finished? Because here's what I knew. Those 17 years that I spent learning content creation, audience building, digital marketing, and how to show up consistently to grow something real, those skills didn't just belong to the chapter I was closing. They also belonged in the next one. So I made a decision. I relaunched this channel completely. Different content, different mission, same woman. And what that taught me is something that I want every woman watching this to take away from this video. Starting over doesn't erase anything that you've already built. It inherits it. It inherits every lesson, every skill, everything you figured out the hard way. It comes with you into your next season. You're not leaving anything behind, you're bringing it forward. And if you're sitting with that and you're genuinely thinking,
okay, Nick, but I have no idea what I'm bringing forward.
I have a free guide. It's called 101 Coaching Ideas, and I designed it exactly for this moment. It's for the professional woman who knows she has something valuable to offer, but she can't quite see it clearly yet. The link for 101 Coaching Ideas is down in the description because I promise you the ideas are already there. You just need a little help seeing them. The second story I want to share happened on March 4th, 2026. It was literally just 17 days after the rebirth of this YouTube channel. I got laid off from my 9-to-5 and I felt two things at the same time. First, the sting of it, because no matter how how much or how strongly you sense that something like this is coming, there's something about being told that your position is being immediately eliminated that hits a little differently than you expect. And the second thing underneath all of that, I almost immediately felt relief. The kind of relief that comes when something you already knew in your gut finally becomes something that you actually have to face. And here's the part I keep coming back to. I'd been quietly building Her Income Edit on the side since August of the previous year. I was creating content, I was building systems, I was developing products, but I was doing it all quietly. I was so concerned about how my side business would be perceived by my then employer that I spent 6 months making myself small to protect a company that didn't protect me. I was treating my own business like it was a liability. I was protecting an income source that could disappear at any given moment while quietly starving the one that I controlled. I will never do that again, but the thing about it is that layoff wasn't a punishment. It was a strategic redirection. And standing there at the ripe age of 48 with everything that I'd already built and everything that I'd already walked away from to rebuild, I made a decision. I wasn't starting over, I was starting from experience. And that distinction right there, that is the entire conversation. Because starting over implies that you're starting back at zero. Starting over implies that all those years, they don't count. Starting over implies everything that you've led, everything that you've managed, created, navigated, and figured out, that all of that somehow doesn't matter. And that is a story that our culture tells women who are brave enough to pivot, and it simply is not true. Starting from experience means you're launching from a foundation. You're not launching from a starting block. At 48, you are not a beginner with a dream. You're an expert with options. The woman who walked away from a 170,000 subscriber YouTube channel to build something more aligned with who she's become, she's not starting over. The woman who was handed a severance letter and turned it into a launching pad, she's not starting over. And the woman who's watching this video right now, who's sitting with that quiet question about whether or not it's too late to build something new, she's not starting over either. She's starting from experience, and she's starting with everything she knows. She's starting from everything she's lived, and she's starting from everything she's already proven that she knows how to do. And that foundation, it does not shrink with time, it compounds. Every year you've spent inside of your expertise, every problem you've solved, every lesson you've earned the hard way, all of that is still with you. It didn't go anywhere. We've been taught that starting over at this age is a sign of failure, but starting over at 48 is the most strategic thing a woman can do, because she's not doing it without context. She's doing it with 20 plus years of proof that she can figure this thing out. That right there is not a disadvantage, it's a competitive edge. Now let me get specific, because inspiration without direction is not a business. What does starting over look like in practice for the professional woman who is at the ripe age of 48? It starts with an inventory. Not an inventory of what you wish you had, but an inventory of what you already have. The problems that you solve without thinking twice, that other people pay consultants top dollar to figure out, the knowledge you've accumulated over your career that someone earlier in their journey would pay to have access to. That is the inventory. And here's what surprises almost every single woman that I've worked with when we go through this process. She expected her inventory to be a short list. She expected to feel like she didn't have enough. Instead, I find her staring at a list of capabilities that represent years of genuine expertise. Because the woman rebuilding at 48 years old, she is not a generalist trying to figure out a niche. She's already living inside of a niche, and she's been living inside that niche for decades. So the question was never whether or not she has something to offer. The question has always been whether or not she's willing to put structure around what she knows. And here's the thing about structure. It doesn't require a new identity. It doesn't require you to become somebody different or pretend that your career history history doesn't exist. It doesn't require you to go back to school to earn a certification or spend 2 years building a following on social media before you can make a single dollar. It requires clarity around what you know, clarity around who needs it, and clarity around how to package it in a way that generates consistent income. And that's it, y'all. That right there, that's the work. And women at the age of 48, they're positioned to do that work faster than anyone else in the coaching space because they're not guessing about who they're here to help. They already know. Now, let me talk about something that I see come up over and over again for women at this stage, because there's a specific mindset pattern that stalls more women at this stage than any strategy problem ever could. And it sounds a little something like this.
I don't have coaching experience. I've never run a business before. Who am I to charge for this?
And I want to address those questions directly. And what I'm about to say is no shade, no tea, but the 24-year-old that's entering this coaching space, she's building credibility. At 48, you're not building credibility. All you're doing is making yours visible. And those are two completely different tasks. A 24-year-old in this space is trying to convince somebody that she knows something. At 48, you're simply helping people see what you've already proven. And that right there, it changes the entire way you show up. It changes the way you price, and it changes the way you talk about what you do. And one more thing I want to say before I move on. The women who struggle the longest at this stage, they are not the women who don't have expertise. They're the ones who haven't figured out how to count their experience as currency. They discount their career years because they didn't build them inside of entrepreneurship. They undercharge because they feel like they need to prove themselves in a new space before they have permission to charge with their worth. They wait until they feel ready, and ready is not a feeling that arrives on a schedule. Your expertise isn't an obstacle. The belief that your expertise counts, that's the obstacle. So if you've been waiting for someone to tell you that your 20 plus years of professional experience qualifies you, consider this right here your final notice, because all of your expertise, it counts. All of it, it counts. And the woman who understands that, she's the woman that builds quickly. And if you want a step-by-step starting point for doing exactly that, identifying what you have, identifying who needs it, and identifying how to package it, I have a free 5-day email course built specifically for the woman who's serious about this, and she doesn't want to spend time on the wrong things first. The link for my free email course is down in the description. But keep watching, because in a minute, I'm going to walk you through a specific resource for the woman who's ready to stop waiting and start building. And here's the thing, if this video is hitting home for you, if you're a woman who's ready to stop circling and start building from the skills you already have, I want to tell you about 2K in 2 hours. It's a resource that I created for the woman who is not starting from scratch. It's for the woman who knows she's starting from somewhere. She has expertise. She has a career behind her, and she needs a clear strategic framework for turning what she already knows into a coaching offer that can generate real income. A $2,000 offer built in 2 hours. That is the outcome of 2K in 2 hours. The link for 2K in 2 hours is down in the description. The women who have gone through this micro course, they're not women who had everything figured out. They're the ones that decided that their skills were worth building a business around. And that right there is the only thing you need going in. I started over twice in a very public way. Once by choice because I knew that I had officially outgrown something that I built, and once by circumstance because something I was holding on to let me go first. And both of those experiences, they confirmed this, that starting over is never the hard part. The hard part was trusting what I already had was enough to build from. That is the invitation I want to leave with you today. Not to wait until the circumstances are perfect, not to wait until you have more clarity or more time or more confidence, but to take an honest look at everything you've already built. Take an honest look at everything you already know, and take an honest look at everything you've already survived. And I want you to ask yourself one question. What could I truly build if I counted all of this as enough? Not someday when you have more time, not eventually when you feel more ready, but right now with everything you already have. Because the world doesn't need another woman who spent her entire life helping other people reach their goals while her goals sat on a shelf collecting dust. The world needs only what you can offer. It needs the combination of everything you've learned, everything you've lived, and everything you're willing to build next. You didn't spend 20 years building somebody else's vision so you can give up on your own. All right, I'll see you in the next one.